Let's go inside the Coach's Corner once again and catch up with Southport's Brandon Winters. The 7-day cycle continues, Coach, from Friday to Friday as we get set to enter week number 3 of the high school football season. But before we do that, let's do a fast rewind in terms of week 2 against your Perry Township rival, the Perry Meridian Falcons, who gave you a stiff test in that first half.
Yeah, they did. It's always a fun atmosphere, fun environment. I think a lot of people didn't quite get to see what we saw. I think they're an improved football team. I think up front, on offensive and defensive lines, they're better than they have been, and they've gotten better at getting their kids that can give you problems to the ball. They're doing some different stuff. So, we kind of jumped out on them early, and I think we thought the game was won. People started getting a little excited, going out to the truck between the end of the game and getting on the way home. I heard several people, hey, great adjustments, great halftime speech, whatever you did in there. And the truth is, the halftime speech was to play harder because they played harder than us. And we made some skill plays early on to jump out early, but from the middle of the first quarter through the end of the first half, it was just them playing harder than us. So I was proud of our guys for getting back to kind of playing the brand of football we want to play in the second half, where we want to play harder than the other team and take the fight to them.
Well, and again, facing a little bit of adversity in that first half certainly is good for the team in terms of its overall development. So certainly when you did come out in that second half, you really turned things in your favor.
Yeah, we did. So we lost David Woods, senior middle linebacker, who's kind of been the leader. Lost him to an injury kind of right around the time when we had the 2-score lead. And, I think defensively, it's a situation where if we had our kind of leader on the field, we kind of could have got that kind of nipped in the bud a little bit, if you will. But it took a little longer for those guys to kind of get refocused. And in the second half, I think just all 3 phases of the game, it was just better attention to detail and better effort, and that's why we were able to kind of get some separation in the game there.
Well, standing at 2-0 now as we get set to enter Conference Indiana play, and Columbus North able to come back after their first loss of the season by defeating Columbus East last night. Kind of a wild affair in terms of offense. So what's the scouting report?
Well, it's just about like every year. They're big and strong. They're going to try to be the more physical team at the line of scrimmage. I feel like we match up a little better at the line of scrimmage than we have with them in years past. But that's what I think, and on Friday we're going to find out. It's a tough place to play. They're very well coached, very big, strong. I think they pride themselves in trying to be one of the more physical teams around. So we're going to have to match them with not only the intensity, but it's going to be one of those games. There's going to be some sore bodies after the game.
And obviously, Coach Bless, who's been around for a long time, certainly makes no secret about the fact that they are a run-heavy team.
Yeah. There's no secret. There's not a lot of pass plays to break down there on film. But I think that what they do a nice job of is when they do throw the ball, they're relatively effective. They do a nice job of making their play-action passes really look. There's a lot of continuity. A lot of teams you play, the runs don't look like the play actions, and it's kind of obvious. They do a really nice job of making their play-action passes start out looking like runs. Whether it's the receivers kind of taking their time, letting the route develop, the way the offensive front kind of moves, and so they do a nice job with that. So for us, we're going to have to stop the run, because if we don't, the secondary guys are going to want to come sniffing up. And, there are big plays in their passing game when they need them.
We always talk a great deal about offense and defense, but let's kind of just review how things are going with your special teams.
I think definitely improvement from last year. And a big part of that is, we were just playing a lot of young guys. Other than the wide receiver group last year, we were pretty young as a team. So those guys are, one, I think they're just more experienced at it. But two, this group seems to take a little more pride in special teams. And they look at that as the same as the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So if we can continue to be solid there, that's going to be big going through this next stretch of tough games.
And Colby Cockrell, obviously, with his experience that he has, especially on kickoffs, he's able to put it pretty much where you want it to be.
He is. We don't just line up and kick it very often for two reasons. Number one is the other team has to practice all the nonsense that we do, and so that really kind of limits what they can do as far as setting up a big return, because at the end of the day, they just want to get the ball. Because we kind of kick it around some odd places with some funny bounces and put pressure on them just to field the ball cleanly. The other reason we do that is we feel like we really can limit their explosive plays. I mean, one of the biggest things, especially at the high school level, if you can make teams do it a little bit at a time, right, they're going to make a mistake, whether it's getting a penalty, miss an assignment. And so we don't want to give up big returns. And Colby's done a nice job of spreading the ball around, low kicks, high kicks, kicks on the ground. And that's all stuff that we practice, and he's executed very well, been very accurate.
As far as Conference Indiana is concerned, there's been some talk on the table, obviously, with some perhaps changes coming, especially when we saw Perry Meridian and Franklin Central leave. Is there anything concrete that's coming together on that for next year? Or just
I'll let you know.
Discussion stages?
I'll let you know when I hear. That's one of those things that I don't really have too much of a say in as far as the conference. The administration does work with me on trying to, get good fits for non-conference opponents. So I'm just going to continue to try and work on getting this team better. And if something happens, then we'll kind of roll with it and see what happens there.
Anticipating a big crowd at tonight's game at Columbus North, and I'm sure the red and white will be right there to back you.
I hope so. That's a really tough place to play. It's always been just kind of a struggle. One, because the team's good. You get a little bit of a bus ride, but usually the fans are engaged in the game. So, when they do something good, it's going to get some momentum going for them, and they'll get on us every once in a while too. So it's a difficult environment, but it should be a lot of fun.
Thanks for spending time with us tonight, Coach. Good luck.